back to Josh Does Life. Very exciting day. I come home from lunch and find this package out in my garage. This is my Christmas present to myself. If you've been following along, you know that I'm lacking some equipment on the Innovative Marine 100 EXT. So I really didn't have the money to buy this stuff, but I really kind of wanted to move forward and get things going. So I whipped out the old credit card and ordered this and the other Kessel light, which I already did kind of a video on the current Kessel light that I have in here, so just adding another one of the same thing. I'll show you the completed thing after I have it on there and going, but I didn't see a point in trying to do another video on it. This video, I'm just going to unbox it. I'll lay all the pieces out. I'll kind of show you all the details and ins and outs of it, and then I'll put it in the sump and get it up and running and kind of show you all of it that I can. Of course, I have to do pauses and stop in between, like unboxing and getting things out, because I'm recording all this on my phone and I don't have a stand or anything to put my phone on. This is what I decided to go with. Let me zoom in so you can see. Now, if you followed along with me, you know that I have been into saltwater aquariums for a very long time. First got into it basically in the 90s for the most part. Back then, I think I had one of those like instant ocean skimmers, or it was the really crummy kind of like hang on the back skimmers that halfway worked. You know, back then I didn't have anything fancy, which, like I've said before, we didn't have internet, we didn't have all these, you know, things you could order from. Everything that I purchased at the time was from a local fish store, so I was limited to what they had in stock, and they really didn't have any like high-end saltwater equipment. So over the years, you know, things have gotten better and we have more resources. The tank that I refer to a lot, my previous 100-gallon that I had, you know, 5 years or so ago, up and running, I had a Reef octopus on it, but I had the just the basic one. It was a 6-inch collection cup as well, or 6-inch, and it worked fine. I didn't have any issues with it. So I kept thinking, you know, what I want to put on this tank, and I'm trying to do fairly high-end components on here just to test out really and see if I experience any real advantages with them, things of that nature. It's not necessarily that I have the money to buy all the nicer things. It's just I'm trying to budget it in and make it work, and then put some on my credit card, just because I really wanted to try doing a higher end tank. This is the first low iron glass tank that I've ever done, in conjunction with the water box that I have in there as well. I'm doing both of them at the same time. So it's my first higher end tank. Prior, I've just had cheaper tanks that were pre-drilled, marine land and that type stuff. So this is my first really high-end build, so I'm just trying to continue on with that and put in high-end components in it. I did a lot of research, and I looked at a couple different brands of protein skimmers. I just, you know, when it comes to the pumps, these Varios pumps are supposed to be top of the line, like some of the best on the market besides CJ pumps. So I kind of wanted to go that route. I've never had a protein skimmer with a DC pump on it, but I wanted to try that out. I went ahead and did the Elite. I looked at the other models they had, and you know, the Elite has claims that it performs better. I don't know necessarily if that's true when you're comparing it to like the Regal 150 that has the same pump on it. There's a few variations. It has a gate valve. There are a few variations to it, but I don't know that performance-wise this will just be a night and day type thing. But I just wanted to keep it kind of like the higher end stuff, and I'll let you know. We'll see if it does any better, in my opinion, to what I've had in the past. I've never really had a high-end protein skimmer. Like I said, I did have the Reef Octopus, but the basic one, pretty much when they first came out. I have a friend of mine that had a Vertex, and I thought that was really awesome at the time, but I don't necessarily think that it did any better job than my Reef Octopus I had. So we'll just kind of see, just for the most part trying this out. This was an expensive buy, so to me it's a really expensive protein skimmer. Of course they have, the Royal exclusive on there that are $1,000 protein skimmers, and I don't understand what the advantages would be to it. I mean, all these are just making micro bubbles and pulling out like proteins and waste in the water. When you really boil it down, I know that they can do things and add things to make them more efficient and all that type jazz. But man, it was hard enough just to spend this amount on a protein skimmer. I just definitely couldn't see going that high end. But so maybe I should say with this high end build that I'm going more towards the middle, because there are higher end products and I just can't put that much money into it. I mean, I would love to have the Abyssal return pump. Those are like $1,500 versus buying the Neptune core that I have that was like $300 and something. I mean, it gets to a point where there's just no way I can spend that much money. So I guess I should say really this is more of a mid-class build. But anyway, here's kind of like a little spec sheet. And in all honesty, I was going to get, watching BRS videos, the 150, they said, would do up to 100 gallons. And then the 200, they said, 100 gallon to whatever it was. So having a 100-gallon tank, I was really going to get the 200, and it was like $100 more. But when I looked at the footprint to it, like it says on here, it's 15 by 11.2. Well, the inside of my sump is like 15 and a half. So I kind of worried about how that would fit in there. I just didn't, I mean, I'm sure it probably would. I don't think it would give me any wiggle room, and I was just kind of uncertain about that. So I just kind of downgraded to the 150. And then one of the BRS, I can't talk. One of the BRS videos, they talked about not like going overkill or overdoing a skimmer as well. They said, you can get too big for your tank, and then it's even less efficient because it's just too big of a body to actually work with the like proteins and the stuff that you have in your water. So I hope I made the right decision here, just going with the 150. I think it should do fine, but we'll see. All right, let me turn around the box so you can see all of it. Okay, this is the side of it, and feel free, of course, to pause if you want to take a look at it. And then the other side's the same thing. Okay, let me get this unboxed. Okay, opened up the box and this is what we have inside. Just so you can see kind of how everything is and packaged. We'll lay it all over to the side. Having trouble, contact coral view. Information sheet here. And like I said, if you want to read this stuff and all, then just pause the video. I don't want to take up too much time just leaving it. All right, that's the end of that. Pretty large, larger than I thought it'd be. Okay. Styrofoam on it, so I'll clean it up, but see by my hand, you know, it's still a pretty large protein skimmer. Kind of surprised that those are like a plastic or PVC screw, being an elite series. You know, I almost thought it would be like the Nios or whatever and have the titanium screws, but apparently not. Rubber feet on the bottom. All right. One of the disadvantages of doing everything one-handed. Okay, so I have some air holes and then the little a little rubber grommet to put in the level sensor. Elite 150, kind of drain port. It's got tape on the lid so it doesn't fall off, I guess. The Various 2-S. And I've never used these pumps, but I mean, they make a return pump, and I almost went that route over the Neptune. But I just, like I said, I got the Neptune, the core, just to go along with the controller. Okay. There's our controller. Connection to a controller, another controller if you want, or the Neptune. Power, pump out. Not sure what all these are. I think the bottom one goes to the level sensor inside the collection cup. And you have a mounting bracket, comes with a couple screws. Power brick. And our pump. voltage information, power cord, and then our level sensor. Okay, let me get this guy all put together, and I'll do another little section of video with it put together. I'm not gonna do the step-by-step. I don't really think anybody cares to see that, which you may. I mean, you never know. Some people may not care about any of the stuff I'm doing in this video. Or maybe they came thinking I would show just how to put it together. But let me get it together, and then I'll start back, and then after I get cleaned up and ready to go, we'll put it in the sump and start it up. Okay, so here's the shot of it assembled. And I will say, if you have some kind of, I don't know, if you have some kind of like seal grease or something like that that's safe for aquariums, you might want to put it around there when you're trying to, you have to actually take this hose and feed it through here to make the connection to the filter silencer. So it was a little bit of a pain to work it up through there. I finally got it. Let's see, so you got that hose that comes down, and then the other one is for ozone if you're going to use that. And you can turn and make your adjustments. How much water is allowed out. And I do like that it has the numbers here, you know, just to help you kind of dial it in and keep it dialed in. Another thing just to note, whereas some grease might help this too, attaching this filter to this pipe, I really had to bear down on it. I almost thought I was going to break it or crack it. So I was trying really hard not to, but it's really a snug fit. So getting that together was a little interesting. But overall, I mean, it's fairly simplistic to put together. Just speaking out loud, my opinion, it's just hard to believe having it in your hands and putting it together and seeing the components and all that stuff. It's hard to believe that it has the price tag on it that it does. It's just, I don't know. You almost expect, in my mind, you almost expect more for the price. But, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see how it performs, and I spent the extra money, and I'm hoping I don't have to replace this sucker for a long, long time. Hoping it lasts me a number of years. So we'll see. One other interesting thing is, and I know it's by design, but the little, I don't know what you want to call that. I wouldn't call it a guard, but the little insert inside the cup there directs the overflow kind of away from the float. So it's kind of angled, if you can see that. Just something else to look at. But yeah, let me get this sucker in the sump and we will go from there. Alright, so the skimmer is assembled and in the sump and running. No way you can hear it whatsoever over all the other noise. I didn't notice it even turning on. It's very quiet. Sorry, the sump's kind of dirty. but anyway. So now I just gotta work on it a little bit as far as getting it adjusted, see what works best. In prior skimmers, I've always kind of set them so that my bubbles are, you know, just an inch or so under the actual collection cup, and going from there. So I'm going to start at this level and let it run for a little while, and then make adjustments as needed. I mounted the controller over there. Right now I'm running it on number 3. It says normal is 2 to 4. So we'll see what this ends up doing. You know, a lot of people say that there's a break-in period with skimmers. Some people say, you know, it takes a few days to a week, or, you know, variations, but it takes a little time till it gets like kind of the film or coating from the water on the inside before it starts really functioning well. So we'll see. I'll let you know how it's doing on the next update. We'll fool around with it and adjust it some more, and we'll see what happens. But that'll wrap it up for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.